So I was born in Hot Springs, South Dakota, and then through a series of moves, we ended up living finally in Lenox, South Dakota, which is just south of Sioux Falls. And grew up there, blue collar family. My mom was a cook at the hospital in Sioux Falls, and my dad was a plumber for a plumbing company in Sioux Falls as well. I grew up in a household where we worked together. When Dad was doing side work, I got brought out and helped, do any phase of construction that he needed a hand with. Now, as a child, I probably wasn't always the best helper in the world, but I did the best I could, and my dad was always willing to teach me. And then, through that, I think is where a lot of my interest in construction came from. But what was interesting is in my family, there was no real history of going to college, which is perfectly acceptable. But it was new to me because I didn't have anybody really to ask questions to. My parents and family were very supportive of my desire to go to secondary education, but didn't necessarily have the input to help me along the way. So had friends, parents, and or the counselors at school that pushed me. I ended up coming to UNL for a couple of reasons. Not unfortunately not because of the Huskers, but more because it was close enough to home that I could go home on the weekends, but far enough away that I didn't have to worry about my parents just stopping in. And anyway, so then I started school at University of Nebraska and bounced around, unfortunately, to a bunch of different majors. Had really no idea, no direction what I was going to do. Ended up in engineering. Turns out I was not smart enough to be an engineer, and fortunately, the lady who would become my wife, Candy, was digging through helping me try to find a major that would make sense, and she found construction management at UNL. And at that point, it kind of everything in life kind of came into focus, and dove into CM. Finished in a very short period of time. Started my career in construction management world. And then after a few years of working for two different organizations, the economic recession happened in 2008. And I was given the opportunity to either move my young family at the time to Guam or take a severance package. Took the severance, and during the period of time when they were going through various reductions in production, I knew a layoff was coming up, and I met who is now one of my business partners, Jeff, in a Bible study group, and we became friends. Asked him the question, "Hey, how about we start a company together?" He said, "Let's do it." And 6 months later, right after I got laid off, we started our first project together, and now here we are, 11 years later.